You are standing in the mountains of El Salvador, and a 14-year-old little girl walks up and hands you her little baby boy, Jose. He's emaciated, and he has dirt in the crinkles of his skin. He's dying of starvation. You look down into his eyes, and he looks back up at you, and you're overcome with love for him. His mother begs you for help. She can't afford the quarter that it cost to ride the bus into the hospital. 8 years ago, I held Jose just before he died. Today alone, 20,000 kids are going to die of hunger, just like Jose. But stats are stats. And they don't have the power to transform us, or the world would be a different place. But that day, Jose became my brother. And he continues to live on in my heart and in my conscience. And my relationship with Jose and the other brothers and sisters I've met in the developing world in places like Palestine, Haiti, Afghanistan, they pose my life with this life-changing question that I would like to pose to all of you today. Are you willing to choose life over luxury? A few years later, I'm back home in the United States at a party. It's actually a charity benefit, and businessmen and women are getting out of their BMWs and Lexus and designer clothes, and in short, these people are ballers. Even the babies are rolling up in $1,000 strollers. and everybody's dancing, having a good time, and just for effect, let's say they're dancing to this.
I wanna be a billionaire, so freaking bad. Buy all of the things I never had.
Fortunately for them, their dancing is much better than mine. They actually use more than their shoulders and have some rhythm. But by almost every measure of success, these men and women have made it. You know, they're living the American dream. And, you know, not only are they, you know, amassing fortunes, they're sharing some of that by writing checks for the needy. That night, I sit down to dinner, and before me sits this nice, big, juicy steak. It must have cost the host over $100. And I think to myself, for the price of this one meal, Jose could have eaten for an entire year. And I can't eat it, because Jose is with me, and he's my brother. And I wrestle with this quote that I read by John Ruskin, and I've wrestled with it a lot, and it says, "Luxury can only be enjoyed by the ignorant. For even a king at his feast could not enjoy it. He must sit blindfolded, because if he recognized the suffering which accompanies it in the world, he couldn't enjoy it. Remove the veil. Remove the veil." So there's a hotel room down in Haiti that I visited when I was working with the Haitian ambassador. And it's a nice hotel. It's got a pristine pool, mint on the pillow, massages on order. And you walk over to the double doors and you remove the veil and you're confronted with your view. It's a sea of blue tarps, flapping in the wind over mud floors, overflowing with families who have lost their homes in the earthquake. It's teeming with trash, urine, feces, and cholera. Now let me ask you this. Would you be able to enjoy treating yourself like luxury and royalty inside this hotel room when just off your balcony the masses are dying of unmet basic needs? Would you? And what makes this situation so very different from treating ourselves like royalty with the luxuries we enjoy every day just a short plane ride away? You know, we live in one of the wealthiest societies the world has ever known. Even if you're at the poverty line here in the United States, around $11,000 a day, that puts you in the top 20% of the richest people on the planet. Out here off the balcony, we have a third of the world's population that lives and dies on less than $2 a day, struggling to merely survive. And the gap between us and them is getting wider and wider every single year. but stats are stats. And Jose is our brother. And he joins in unison with a third of the world's population today to pose to us a challenge. Are you willing to choose life over luxury? So what does this mean, choosing life over luxury? Well, by way of example, I'd like to tell you about one man's story who really inspires me. Siddhartha Gautama was a wealthy prince who lived over 2,500 years ago in the foothills of the Himalayan mountains. As the story goes, he had every imaginable luxury. He lived a sheltered life in his castle until one day, when he was about our age, he goes out on a carriage ride and he removes the veil and he sees true suffering in the world for the first time. He ends up going back to his palace, and all of those luxuries he previously enjoyed now seem hollow. Fleeting pleasures incapable of bringing true fulfillment. So what does he do? He actually goes out into the world. He leaves it all behind and he deprives himself of absolutely everything. But this too does not bring fulfillment. So he struggles and eventually he finds this middle way between excess and deprivation. And it's on this middle way that he comes to know enlightenment. And he earns the title of the Buddha. Enlightenment, fulfillment, that's why we're all here, right? Well, notice that the Buddha didn't get it by going back to his palace and by writing a check and continuing his own life of luxury. He couldn't do it. He dug deeper than his own pocketbook. And he recognized it's not about how much we give, it's about how fully we give, how completely we give of ourselves. The Buddha chose life over luxury. So I know what everyone in here must be thinking right now at this point. Whoa, total buzzkill. Get Debbie Downer off the stage. Well, actually, I'm not here to make anybody feel guilty. In fact, the exact opposite. This approach to life has brought me an unimaginable amount of joy, sacred meaning, and purpose. You know, rather than seeking out fulfillment by trying to climb higher and higher up this wealth and status ladder, then with Jose at my side, I've hopped off the ladder. Now, like a roof over my head, a hot shower, a bed, a full stomach, these things are seen for the global luxuries they actually are. An abundant gratitude emerges from simplicity. What I'd like to ask each and every one of you to do is this. Travel to the developing world. If you haven't already, go to the developing world and create a meaningful, loving, authentic relationship with someone in extreme poverty in the developing world. Remove the veil. Step out of your comfort zone and turn these people from statistics into your brothers and sisters. It's through their friendship that we'll come to realize, recognize our own luxuries, our own consumption choices, even our own goals begin to transform. And our brothers and sisters will help us to find the middle way. And it's out of love for them, we'll choose life over luxury. Ultimately, it's not about us saving Jose and those in the developing world. It's about them saving us. Thank you.